Peter Godinez, your community ambassador, and I am here on Pepperdine University here in Malibu, and he needs no introduction. I'd like to introduce Coach Marv Dunphy. Crowd goes crazy. You have a little noise in the background. But you know, I always like to interview interesting people, and I got to say, Coach Marv is probably one of the most interesting people I know. And for you, go ahead and raise your hand if you feel the same thing. I would like to ask him some questions that are really deep because, you know, we talk about always going to the next level, right? You know, we could talk about volleyball and strategy, but when it's all over and said and done, we all can't play volleyball the rest of our lives, okay? So if I were to ask you the question, what is the significance of volleyball in regards to life? What would you say the situation would be?
My first thought is that, can I ask you a question?
Wow, that's never been done before in the history of interviewing. Oh, I'm so much on the spot.
All right.
Oh my God, wait a minute, I gotta change positions now.
Okay, these are simple questions but pretty important.
Right, are they multiple choice or true and false?
Yeah, yes or no. Are you a good parent and a good husband?
That's two questions, right?
Yeah, no, that's one for me.
You know, I guess I can give you my impressions of it,
Yeah.
but then you'll probably have to ask the audience. So I have to ask my wife, Elaine. Big shout out to Elaine Hammermaster Godinez, and to my two kids, Jared Godinez and Shine Godinez, who are both volleyball players from an indoor, grass, and what's the other one? Beach, right? So I would guess, am I good? Let me go with the good husband. All right, I'd say that, okay, I've survived 37 years, okay? How many years you got?
Yeah.
We're pretty close, right?
Yeah, probably around so.
Okay,
Yeah,
so 37 years, so I've gone the distance. Okay, now we need to evaluate. Put your cards up, as you would say, 0 to 10, right? Where am I? I would say Elaine would probably give me a 6. Keep me humble, right? And I would give myself maybe a 6.5, just being the humble man that I am, right?
Okay. This is Tell the Truth Friday here, and yeah, you voted yourself too low. But so my other question is, and this is only one.
Okay.
How old are you?
Oh, okay. Let me check.
No. That isn't the question. But how old are you?
How old am I?
Yeah.
I am 30 plus 30. So
That's right.
You do the math on that.
Yeah, you're young at heart. If you were to write a letter to your younger self, what would that consist of? You know, like, hey, 30 some years ago, I'm going to meet people like Ariel Chadwick and President Kennedy and so on and so forth, and have this great life. Go ahead.
All right, that sounds good. So, dear Peter, and you're 18 years old, ready to go to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, I would say that find the address of Pepperdine University and look up this young man. He's actually dated Mary Poppins before. So that's a different segment. Okay, we'll do that. And I would say, you know, Peter, you've done a good job of picking the people to hang around. You know, and so look up this guy, Marv Dunphy. He's, I think, a few months older than you are. And he'll introduce you to Terry Schroeder and to Dale Hoffman and to Randy Sapoznik, and the list goes on. I would say that, Peter, you're doing a great job of hanging around the right people.
One question means one at a time, okay?
I know, I'm going to give you several answers.
No, from my standpoint.
Okay.
So, what do the truly great people do with their lives?
Wow.
I'm going deep here.
This is deep. Hold on. I'm going to need tissue. Okay, I'm ready to go.
He's an actor.
What was the question?
What do the truly great people do with their lives?
You know, I really believe...
To have them turn out great, like Mother Teresa and Peter Godinez. What have you done? And actually, where do you think that came from? Were you just born that way, or was there some significant people? Who impacted you?
How many questions is that? I can't even remember the first one.
Who made you who you are?
You know, it's amazing. What's one person you actually mentioned, the female who had a deep-seated commitment, and that was Mother Teresa. I connect with the fact, her commitment to God. And one of my mentors said, you know, there's so many choices of God in our culture, and I beg to differ. I'd say there's only one God, and yet different viewpoints and opinions. But I think truly great people, when you say great, Coach Marv, is someone who actually has that core belief that there is a greater source than us. And I believe great people actually believe that. Great people, and I think that's something you and I connected without going into too much detail, but our core of knowing that there's a greater source than us. How's that for an answer?
One or two people that grabbed you along the way, and then the second part of my one question at a time is, I'd like to know who your 5 favorite Americans are.
5 favorite Americans.
But first of all, who were the significant people in your life? Like for me, nothing against my parents. I didn't get a lot from them. I got more from some significant teachers and a coach or two, and I learned what to do and what not to do from the village, and not so much from my family. And were there people that were significant that grabbed you along the way and say, "Hey, I got to do things"?
You mentioned something that said, "Peter, were you just born this way?" And I want to say, yeah, I've just determined I am. This is how God made me. And then if you went into the list, let's see if I can go through real quick. I had the good fortune of having a father who's got an amazing story, but what an inspiration. His name is Pete Anthony Godinez. And, where he didn't have a whole lot of mentors, he sure mentored me a lot. And without going into a long detail, Pete Godinez, my father, was very instrumental. If I count my mom as number 2, that'd be real important.
She could be one of your 5 favorite Americans.
I want to give out, since you're a coach, I have a coach, Coach Steve Miller, who was my coach, decathlon coach at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and to this day, he is still an inspiration, as you are, Coach. I know a few good coaches in my life. So Steve Miller, he's now the CEO of Andre Agassi's and Steffi Graf's Foundation, and so that's number 3. Number 4, I'm half Filipino and half European, and so I met a lot of gentlemen who were from the Philippine Islands who were gentlemen. They were all very tall Spaniard, very well-dressed gentlemen. They treated women with decency and respect, and I think I couldn't go into a longer list of who those people are. And then finally, not that I'm trying to over-flatter you, but you weren't American, right?
Yeah.
Okay, last time you looked, right? I have a group of people like you, and again, I mentioned them: Randy Sapoznik, Dale Hoffman. Just the list goes on of men who inspire me, and I desire so much to inspire them. That, I'll say, 5th position. It's a group of men who I admire, who I love. If they ever needed help, called me at 3:00 in the morning, I'd come running to them, and I know they would come running after me. So that was 5, or was that 4?
No, you're plenty good.
Okay.
So last question along those lines.
Okay.
If you had to, I know you're 30, I'm 32.
Okay.
If you had to do
32, a T-O-O?
Yeah, I always feel like, I imagine myself being 32.
Okay.
And if you had to do it over again, would you change anything?
I probably...
Can I answer my own question?
Yeah, okay.
People ask me that now.
Well, let me ask you.
Yeah.
So, if you had to do it all over again, Coach Marv, what would you do differently, or what would you do?
Nothing, because when I was young, growing up in Topanga Canyon, the place I went to elementary school is now a bar called Froggy's. And
you were the head of the class, right?
I never imagined I would be with such good people and be able to be part of so many great teams. And so why would I choose to do it over again? I wouldn't. I wouldn't do anything different. Maybe I would have lifted weights as an athlete, or learned motor learning sooner. But yeah, I'm just kind of curious.
No, I think that would be my same exact answer.
No,
It's amazing. Again, this is like Secrets of Marv Dunphy, but the man has a metabolism of a hummingbird. Incredible. He can drink orange juice and milk at the same time. He prefers going to the drive-in, and sitting in a cold car in a cramp where a bunch of former jocks sit.
It's not where you are, it's who you are,
Yeah, both sometimes. But I think these are some really good. We'll have to do a series of questions that are easier.
No, these are
shallow questions versus these deep ones.
I have one more for you.
You go for it.
If you had to live your life the rest of your life on the moon or on the bottom of the ocean, what are you going to pick?
Oh man. Since I don't like seafood a whole lot, I'd probably say maybe the moon. What do you say?
Okay, I did that with.
Did I have to justify my answer here or what?
No.
Show
It's
my
your
math.
answer.
That's why I wasn't going to be. Show your math. I go,
Yeah.
forget it. That's
No,
the
it's-
answer.
it-
Well,
when
how
I-
about you? I mean, that's a tough one.
When I don't know, I just asked, just to get a conversation going with our players, and like 20 out of 21 picked the bottom of the ocean.
Bottom of the
And
ocean.
I'm just thinking, how could they think like that?
Who goes figures? Would that answer somehow affect them making the team? Is
No,
a
no.
volleyball player better at the bottom of the ocean
No,
or the moon? And the moon, I think you would have higher leaping bills. No?
I just can't see being down at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, no. That's a good question. I have to remember that for the next interview I do. So anyway, well, any other great questions? I'm ready.
You know what? It's just great to be here with you.
You know, we do our best work impromptu. You know what that word means, right? Impromptu.
Yeah.
Like,
Even though I grew up in Topanga,
it's
I
all
know
right.
what it is.
You know, up level is expository. We have about 5 minutes, and I think maybe that's what we're doing. It's more expository. But you know what? We'll have to do segments of this because I think this will go viral.
The next one will be sponsored by Xerox.
You know, I don't think so. I mean, spell that. Let's see if you can spell Xerox.
I don't know.
X-E-R-O-X.
Yeah,
Okay. Anyway, with that, what a privilege. So with that, let me wrap this up. I can't believe how short I am compared to
No,
these
no,
giant
no, no.
men. That's the way. This is Peter Godinez, your community ambassador. Again, making history here. I mentioned in Coach Marv's office. We'll take some shots of this and lots of different awards and pictures that you'll recognize. And then the famous Ariel over there, which I'm going to get a shot of. So she's incredible. So that's all I got to say. So anyway, you take care. And until next time.